Hi, I'm Vivek. I'm here to do the post-match analysis of the first T20I that happened between India and Australia. Just to give a summary before we start to talk about the post-match analysis, the summary of the game was India batted first. They went on to score 211 for the loss of 6 wickets in their 20 overs. And in the end, Australia chased it down quite comfortably. They were able to chase the target in 19.1 overs, so it was quite an easy chase in the end. But the match was not. It was not that easy, I felt, but Australia made it look quite easy in the end. So I'm here to talk about the key points of the game, which I felt were really important and that sort of shaped the game. So let's start with the first innings where India batted. I think even before talking about the innings, I think we all must admit the pitch was really good for batting. You could see it was very difficult for the bowlers. Around 400 runs were scored. Sorry. Around 400 runs were scored, so you could imagine how difficult it was for the bowlers. So let's start with India's batting first. When India batted first, I personally felt the first and foremost point was the way Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul started to bat. They looked quite aggressive at the start. You could see Rohit Sharma was trying to attack from the ball one, and KL Rahul tried to do the same as well. And then Rohit Sharma got out, and when Virat Kohli came on, I think Australia made a very good tactical change. They understood well that Virat Kohli likes the ball coming onto the bat, so they understood that and they introduced Adam Zampa. And what Zampa basically did is he slowed the pace of the game. He bowled those slower deliveries, and Virat Kohli found it difficult to score off. And in the next over, when Ellis came on, you could see that Virat Kohli is trying to up the ante. He was trying to score runs quickly and utilize the power play, but unfortunately he lost his wicket. So I think even though Ellis got the wicket, I think you need to give a lot of credit to Zampa because he sort of slowed that pace with which India was going on. So that really helped Australia, and they got the wicket of Virat Kohli, which was unfortunate for India, but it worked well for Australia. And then Surya Kumar Yadav came into bat, and then we saw a partnership which I personally enjoyed thoroughly. The way Surya Kumar Yadav and KL Rahul batted, they had a partnership about like 60 runs, but the run rate at which they scored was really beautiful to watch because the way they were batting, it almost felt like they understood the game really well. And Surya Kumar Yadav for the past year or so has looked in a different form. He is on a different level currently. You could see he's picking the gaps at will. He's hitting those sixes at will, which is quite wonderful to see. So I think that partnership was really important for India because I feel because of that India didn't lose the momentum in the middle overs. India were still trying to push for 200, I felt. So the partnership between Surya Kumar Yadav and KL Rahul was really important for India. And then KL Rahul got out, and then you saw Hardik Pandya come in. And I felt Hardik Pandya's innings was a game changer for India because you sort of felt even in the Asia Cup you sort of felt India were getting close to those 200 scores, but they could never quite reach it. But when the way Hardik Pandya played, he scored 71 runs in like 30 balls at a strike rate of more than 200. So that was the real game changer for India. And I think I wanted to point out another thing when Hardik Pandya was batting. The way he was batting, the technique with which he batted, I felt that was really useful in this sort of a pitch. What he was trying to do is he was trying to clear his leg, his front leg. He was trying to clear his front leg and stay at his position. He was not trying to move that much in the pitch. He trusted the bounce of the wicket, and you could see it was a batting wicket. So what Hardik Pandya did was he stayed deep in his crease and he cleared his front leg. And because of that, the advantage of doing that is that you get a chance to, let's say if someone bowls a slower delivery and you're staying back, so you don't move your front foot too much and you don't try to commit to the shot well before the ball has reached you. So I felt that was really important when Hardik Pandya was batting, where he stayed back in the crease and he just waited for the deliveries, and then you could see because he waited, he was batting really deep in the crease. You could see that opened up his offside as well. he was playing the ball really late, and because of that, he was able to access that area between backward point and point as well. And when someone was bowling closer to his body, he was able to play that same ball on the leg side as well. So Hardik Pandya's innings was really enjoyable, and I think that was a game changer for India. On the bowling side, I felt Adam Zampa bowled really well, even though his figures don't tell that. He went for about like 36 runs in his 4 overs, but I felt he bowled much better than that, because you could see the first thing was he was one of the main reasons why Virat Kohli tried to score those runs in the next over against Ellis, and he got out. So that was really good. And the second thing that I really liked was he was trying to flight the ball a lot. You could see him trying to go for wickets, and whenever he's trying to flight the ball, I mean, that gave him a chance of taking a wicket. Yes, he didn't get any wickets. Surya Kumar Yadav played him really well. KL Rahul played him really well. But I felt the way he bowled, he was always going for wickets. And although his figures don't show that, but I felt Adam Zampa really bowled well in this innings. And the second obvious mention is Ellis. Uh, the way Ellis bowls, I think it's really good for the batting wicket that was there at Mohali, because what was happening is that if at these kind of pitches where there is like it's a flat wicket and batters can score pretty easily, I think changing the pace is the real advantage. If a bowler can change pace and not give that pace to a batsman, I think batsmen were sort of missing their flow. And I thought Ellis did that really well, and because of that, he took what 3 wickets. That was another not a game changer, but for if even if he would have gotten, if he also went for runs, I think India would probably end up scoring like 230 or 240. But because he was taking wickets, he took 3 wickets. They could still somehow manage to restrict India to 207. So I think from the first innings, these were the key points that I really enjoyed. Now let's come back to the innings where Australia batted, the second innings. I think it was really crucial for Australia to start well. When you're chasing a target of more than 200 runs, the power play becomes really, really important. The way Aaron Finch and Cameron Green batted, it was wonderful to see that they were trying to be that ultra aggressive. They were not just trying to end up scoring like 50 or 55, they went for that 60-run power play. Even though Finch got out, but the way they started off, I think it put Australia in a really good position, because from the beginning of their innings, they always were on track on track of the run rate that was required at that particular moment. They were always heading for that 10 runs per over or 11 runs per over, so that really benefited them at the start. So even though Aaron Finch got out, the way Cameron Green batted throughout his innings, not just in the power play, that that was really important for Australia, because they wanted someone to just go bang, and they wanted an innings that had a strike rate of like 200 or more than 200, which is what Cameron Green did. The other interesting thing that I wanted to point out with Cameron Green that was similar to Hardik Pandya was that, like Hardik Pandya, Cameron Green was also trying to stay back in his crease. He was waiting for the delivery, and anything short or short of length, he was trying to play that pull shot, and he was trying to play the horizontal bat shots more. So I felt that was a similarity with Hardik Pandya. Hardik Pandya was also trying to do that, and you saw that with Cameron Green as well. So he had a simple plan in mind. He was just batting deep in his crease. He was waiting for that short delivery, and he was trying to free his bat, so that he could score more runs. The other interesting thing I felt about Cameron Green was that against the spinner, you saw him that any delivery that was bowled in a fuller region at the stumps, he was just going for a slog sweep. And even if the ball was a little bit short, he was still playing that slog sweep. So I felt he had a simple plan in his mind, and he executed that beautifully. So Cameron Green in the second innings was definitely a game changer for Australia. And the other point was that, the other point that I want to talk about is Aksar Patel's bowling. that mini comeback that India got between the overs 10 and 15, where Aksar Patel was picking up wickets, he took the wicket of Cameron Green, and the way he took the wicket of Cameron Green was really important because you could, like I said, any ball that was bowled at the stumps, Cameron Green was like slogging it to the leg side, and even if it was little short and on the stumps, he was still playing that slog sweep and he was hitting them for like big sixes. So what Aksar Patel did at that moment was really clever because he sort of slowed up the pace and he went through the ball quite outside the off stump. So because of that, Cameron Green had to reach for that ball because in his mind, Cameron Green was obviously going to play the slog sweep. So that delivery that he bowled outside the off stump, that because of that, Cameron Green was not able to reach the ball properly, and because it was bowled a little slower, he was not able to reach the ball and he sort of edged it, and Virat Kohli took a really good catch. So I thought Aksar Patel's bowling, that mini comeback that India got between 10 to 15, Aksar Patel played a really important part. And then when we saw that mini comeback, I personally felt India were back in the game because Australia required quite a lot of runs and the run rate was sort of creeping up. But then came Matthew Wade, and how good was Matthew Wade? I mean, the way he batted, the form that he continued from the World Cup that we saw, the innings that he played against Pakistan, it was uh, I wouldn't say that like he played an exceptional innings, but I felt Indian bowlers also helped him a bit. But still, to come in at a situation where Australia have lost 5 wickets and to come in and finish that innings on a high or even winning the match for Australia was really incredible because I think we as Indian fans, we sort of felt when Maxwell got out and when English got out as well, we sort of felt we had a chance because we felt if India picks up another wicket, let's say of Matthew Wade at that moment, or even Tim David, we thought India were really good. India had a really good chance of winning the match. But the way Matthew Wade played, he sort of took the game away from us. So that was really good. Coming to the next point, yeah, I think it is not just a point of for like 5 or 10 overs. I felt throughout the 20 overs, the one thing that was very evident from the Australian batting lineup was that they never looked like they were trying to nudge the ball or trying to play at a lower strike rate or let's say a lower run rate for the innings. They always look to attack, and being that ultra aggressive sort of helped them always keep in track with the run rate. So Australia never lost momentum, even though they were losing wickets. They lost Steve Smith, they lost Maxwell in the middle as well. But even when Inglis came out to bat, you could clearly see his thought process. He was always trying to score runs, and I felt that ultra aggression kept them in the match like for let's say 15 to 16 overs, and that really helped them. That for the last 4 overs, they were not chasing like 70 to 80 runs. They were chasing like 50 to 60 runs in the last 4 to 5 overs. And in a T20 innings, when you're chasing like 40 to 50 runs, it can go either way. So I felt the way Australia batted throughout the innings was like that ultra aggression that they showed was really wonderful. So I think that's about it. These are the key points that I picked up from India's batting and from Australia's batting. And I want to point out few things which I personally felt went wrong for India. The first and foremost, I think it was quite evident that India dropped catches. Now, not just in international matches, we have seen in the IPL as well. Mohali has been such a stadium where the fielders drop quite a lot of catches. I think Akash Chopra, even in his commentary, he was pointing that out that in Mohali you see a lot of catches getting dropped. So I'm not, because I'm not playing the game, I'm not necessarily sure that it is because of some lights in the stadium or something like that. But the catches that India dropped of Cameron Green, Steve Smith, and even Matthew Wade's catch that Harshit Patel dropped, I thought it costed India a lot. even not in terms of runs, because if you see Cameron Green was dropped when their score was some 90, and when he got out it was 109. So just if you just think about the number of runs that were scored after the drop catch, they were not much. But when you pick up a wicket at that particular point of time, let's say Australia were 90 for 2, then those 20 runs extra that went on after that, after the drop catch, 20 runs in a T20 match can be a lot. So the drop catch, somewhere it costed India a lot of runs, probably would have been saved because of that. So I felt drop catches was one of the points where I felt India were not up to the mark this time. The second point that I want to talk about is the death bowling of India. Now, even during the Asia Cup, we saw that our bowlers were not able to finish those games when the opposition team requires like 30 from 2 or let's say 25 from 2. We were not able to close those games, and we saw a similar thing happen today as well. I think I don't want to talk. I don't want to nitpick how Harshal Patel bowl, because he's coming back from an injury and he's bowling those crucial overs again. He bowled at 18 overs and it went for 22 runs. But somewhere you saw that Harshal Patel is still coming back to his original form. But because he's coming from an injury, I think it will be wrong that we nitpick so much of his bowling from that 18th over. I think he'll be much better. He'll get better as he plays more. So I don't want to nitpick that particular over. Yes, it costed us a lot, but Harshal Patel was still trying to get back to his form. The over that I specifically want to talk about is the over that Bhuvaneshwar Kumar bowled, the 19th over. Now we have seen Bhuvi was not able to close those innings in the Asia Cup as well. Even in the Asia Cup, his 19th over was going for quite a lot of runs. Now we know how good a bowler Bhuvi is. I personally am like the biggest fan of Bhuvaneshwar Kumar. But I felt I saw this in the Asia Cup as well, and then I see in this match as well. I saw it in this match as well. I feel whenever Bhuvaneshwar Kumar is bowling, more than his bowling, I personally feel the field is set up not in a wrong way, but in a very defensive way. Because you saw when Bhuvi was bowling, there was backward point, there was deep point, and the fielders were placed there for that wide Yorker. And the equation that Australia were facing at that particular moment was some 17 or 18 runs from the last 2 overs. I feel when you are in a situation where you need to score just 18 runs of like 12 balls, if you sort of go into that defensive shell, Australia are quite comfortable with that, or any opposition will be comfortable with that, because what you're trying to do as a bowler is that you're saying that I'm going to bowl that wide Yorker, but that wide Yorker not necessarily will give you a wicket, because that is more like a run saving option. When you're bowling that wide Yorker, there is very low chance of the batsman getting out. He might not score a 6 of that ball or score a boundary of that ball, but you're not necessarily going for wickets. And I felt even when the equation was 18 from 12, if Bhuvi bowled, I mean, not just Bhuvi, if India went on to attack in that particular over and somehow got the wicket of Matthew Wade, the situation would have been little more difficult for Australia, because then Pat Cummins would have to come in and he might succumb to the pressure at that particular moment. So I felt the field that they kept during the 19th over was quite defensive, because there are 2-3 problems with that. First and foremost, like I said, you are not going for the wicket, and like Australia would have been comfortable even if they scored like 5-6 runs of the over and then they could score 12 of the next. But Australia were quite happy that they were not looking to take wickets. And the second problem with that field is that, let's say Bhuvi is going for that wide Yorkers and he misses one ball, like he did in one of the balls. He bowled a full toss to Matthew Wade, and Matthew Wade sort of hit that for 4. Then what happens is that you're questioning your own plan. Bhuvi is already under a lot of pressure. He was not able to finish those overs in the Asia Cup as well, and then he comes on to even more pressure and he builds up that pressure, which is quite unnecessary, I feel. because he tried to go for the wide Yorkers. It didn't. He couldn't land the ball in the correct place. It went onto a boundary, and now Bhuvi starts thinking uh, about his plan of bowling those wide Yorkers. So you saw in the next ball, I thought, or maybe in the next to next ball, he bowled a short delivery, and you sort of didn't have a feel for that. So it clearly showed that Bhuvi sort of felt that his plan was not working, so he went for a different plan, and because of that, you see, uh, Matthew Wade scored 8 runs because of that. Like the full toss that Bhuvi bowled for going for that wide Yorker went for a 4, and then Bhuvi built up the pressure. He bowled a short delivery, and that went for 4 as well. So I felt the field was quite defensive where India didn't look to pick up that wicket of Matthew Wade. It would have been ideal if Matthew Wade was in the dugout at that particular moment. But that didn't happen, and it's okay. I think India as a team, I mean, they know what to do better than us. So I'm sure they might be thinking about the same situation as well. And hopefully, in the next match, we see Bhuvi coming up with a different plan in the 19th over. And I personally hope that they still give chance to Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, because for the past 3-4 years, I think he's been one of our best death bowlers along with Bumrah and Harshal Patel in the last year. So these three bowlers are really good at the death. I think with better field setting and with better execution, probably he'll be much better. He'll be in a much better position to defend those runs. So I think these are the points that I discussed. I would like to know what are your opinions about these points, and any questions that you want to ask or any comments that you want to share about my opinion. Please go ahead and share it in the comments. Thank you for watching this stream, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.